What would you do if someone you barely knew spent years secretly building a life with you inside their mind? My name is Ethan. For years, I thought I understood what stalking looked like. I thought it meant threatening messages, someone hiding in bushes, or strangers following you in dark alleys. I never imagined it could begin with a simple compliment. I was a sophomore studying software engineering at Redwood State University in Oregon. Most people described me as quiet, but I wasn't shy. I just preferred spending my time coding, hanging out with my girlfriend Emily, who I'd been dating since high school, or working on my favorite hobby, woodworking. Whenever I had free time, I'd head to the campus makerspace to build small tables, shelves, or picture frames, dreaming that one day I'd own my own custom furniture business. Then Sophia noticed me. She was a senior, smart, beautiful, confident, and from a wealthy family. After I gave a presentation during a joint engineering seminar, she walked over, smiled, and told me I did a great job. I thanked her and thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. She started showing up everywhere: the library, the student center, outside my programming classes. At first, I convinced myself it was just coincidence, until she started texting me every morning, even though I never remembered giving her my number. Then she began asking strange questions about my girlfriend. Does Emily really appreciate someone like you? I laughed it off. My roommate didn't. He looked at me one night and asked, Have you noticed she somehow always knows where you're going? That question stayed with me. A few weeks later, a package arrived at my dorm. Inside was an expensive engraved watch with a note that read, You deserve better. No pressure. Sophia. I had never told her where I lived. I mailed it back the same day and politely told her never to send me anything again. She apologized. I believed her. Then she invited me on an all expenses paid weekend trip to Aspen. When I reminded her I had a girlfriend, she smiled and said, I know. Like that wasn't an answer. I reported everything to the university. She was warned. Eventually, she disappeared, and after graduation, I convinced myself it was finally over. 4 years later, I was living in Seattle with Emily. Life was exactly how we'd planned. Until one Wednesday night, I received an 11-minute voice message from an unknown number. When I played it, I froze. It was Sophia. She told me she'd loved me every single day since college. She said she'd buy us a house, pay off my student loans, open the woodworking shop I'd always dreamed about. Then she mentioned places I'd only talked about once, in conversations I never knew she'd overheard years earlier. I rejected her immediately. Within minutes, the sweet messages turned into insults. I blocked her. Another number appeared, then another. Flowers started arriving at my office. Anonymous calls came every night at exactly 1 p.m. Someone placed one of my broken woodworking projects outside my apartment, a piece I'd thrown in the trash weeks earlier. Notes appeared under my door describing clothes I'd worn days before. Then one morning, a wedding invitation arrived. It had my name, her name, a wedding date, everything professionally printed, as if the wedding had already been planned without me. A few days later, I looked out the window of my office and saw her standing across the street. She wasn't waving. She wasn't calling. She was just watching me. That's when I realized this wasn't love. It wasn't even obsession anymore. It was dangerous. My family and Emily convinced me to go to the police. We handed over every message, every package, every photo, every security camera recording. Months later, a judge granted a permanent restraining order that legally prevented her from contacting me or anyone close to me again. Walking out of that courthouse felt like taking my first full breath in years. But sometimes, even now, when I hear footsteps behind me in a parking garage, or notice the same car twice, I still look over my shoulder because some fears don't disappear the day the court case ends. They simply become quieter. So, what would you do if someone you barely knew spent years secretly building a life with you inside their mind? Write your answers in the comments.